What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I don't like people that scam people. That's a big thing. To look somebody in their face, smile, and then con them out of something that they have a value that you want. And I can't stand people that do scams off of, you know, people that are dead when they're the ones that cause the death of the person, unbeknownst to those that they're scamming. You see this little boy up here? Last year, there was a GoFundMe, right? His name is Deonte Atwell, 7 years old. He had spina bifida and hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain. I seen his GoFundMe and I contributed $100 to it. Come to find out, the whole thing was a sham. You see these 5 people up here? They're all arrested. I'm not going to go through their names. I'll let you see this video yourself because I take this kind of personal, because this is a 7-year-old child who was starved to death by all of those people there, all adults. 2 of them worked for the nursing company. Well, didn't work. One is the owner of the nursing company. Other one is the nurse that would come to the house, sign in like she came in there to check on little Deonte, and never came to the house. Yeah. This little boy was starved to death, like I said. He weighed 7 pounds Christmas of last year when he died. Said he was so malnourished that he had bed sores that exposed his the inside of his body, gaping bed sores. Said his femoral bones were exposed through his skin, meaning he was starved so bad that his skin shrunk and the bones poked out. He's been dead for some time, and now this whole story came to light. I want you to take a look at this, and we'll come back and talk about it.
On the 5 o'clock, horror at home. Police say this 7-year-old boy was starved to death, and now 5 people have been arrested.
And we've learned that little boy, who required in-home medical services, was allegedly killed by the people who were supposed to care for him. Local 10's Christina Vasquez joining us live now from Fort Lauderdale with the details in this heartbreaking story. Christina.
And now, new at this hour, we have new gut-wrenching details revealed in both court and a recently unsealed indictment. Prosecutors telling a judge that this is a case of a 7-year-old child who was starved to death by family members and home health providers during an attempt to defraud Medicaid. Before police armed with long guns would descend on this Fort Lauderdale duplex Tuesday, before Fort Lauderdale police would outline the horrifying condition of 7-year-old Deonte Atwell, weighing less than some newborns.
Weighing only 7 pounds on Christmas Day of last year at the time of his death.
And the ER doctor determined that the child had been dead for quite some time.
His mother, Michelle Doe, organized an online funeral cost fundraiser for her baby boy. Investigators say she starved to death. She's now facing several charges, to include first-degree murder.
This victim was so poorly malnourished and neglected, the femoral heads of his bones were protruding out of his lower back.
Had suffered all the way through his death by the people that were supposed to be caring for him the most.
Described as a medically complex child.
He had spinal bifida, hydrocephalus.
He needed a breathing and feeding tube, around-the-clock skilled nursing care.
The defendant, as well as one of the other co-defendants here, engaged in a scheme to defraud Medicaid.
At his home, investigators found 264 unopened bottles of Deonte's feeding formula and evidence of Medicaid fraud. 5 in total arrested: Deonte's mother, brother, and grandfather, the registered nurse who was supposed to be providing in-home health care, and the owner of Samaritan Home Care Provider, Inc., an enrolled Medicaid provider.
They, in fact, billed and received payment from Medicaid for services not rendered to this child. Had the child received those services, he would not be dead or weighing 7 pounds at the time of his death.
And that is something we heard echoed from the homicide detective earlier today when she said, based on their investigation, it was heart-wrenching that he died in this manner because he did have access to the medical necessities, but that they weren't provided. I can tell you that all five face a variety of related charges. The victim's mother and brother also facing additional charges pertaining to neglect of other children in the home, two males ages 9 and 16. Meantime, the victim in this case, his mother, makes her first court appearance tomorrow morning. Reporting live for you tonight in Fort Lauderdale, I'm Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.
The most disturbing and heart-wrenching cases we have ever covered. Investigators believe the child, who was born with a medical condition, died a tragic death after not receiving his feeding formula for months. Detectives say Deonte Atwell could have lived well into his 20s or even 30s, despite being born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus, or water on the brain. But instead, investigators say he died a slow, painful death at only 7 years old.
It's sad that Deonte had to die in this manner. He was provided with all of the medical necessities that he needed.
But those medical necessities, like 264 bottles of feeding formula, were found unopened in his home, according to the state attorney's office.
He had gaping holes from bed sores where his bones were protruding.
Fort Lauderdale detective Jackie Sanchez says the case was so disturbing it affected her.
It was very disturbing. I can tell you I lost sleep more than once.
It wasn't until December 25th, 2023, that anyone alerted police that something was wrong at the home on Southwest 11th Street near Southwest 18th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale.
Tell me exactly what happened.
My nephew, he's on the breathalyzer. He's not responding too well right now. He's like weak. We need an ambulance, man. I don't have time to do too much explaining with you. I just need you to hurry. It's like send one right now.
Now, his mother, 37-year-old Michelle Doe, and his brother, 21-year-old Tyrick Irvin, face murder, aggravated manslaughter, and other charges. His 70-year-old grandfather, James Graham, charged with aggravated manslaughter and failure to report abuse. Two others, Cassandre Lessegue, a home health nurse, and Merlande Multimore, owner of Samaritan Home Care Provider, were arrested, accused of defrauding Medicaid in the months leading up to the child's death. Prosecutors allege the Medicaid fraud involved the illegal taking of more than $10,000, but less than $50,000 meant for Deonte's care. The child weighed only 7 pounds when he was pronounced dead. Doctors estimated he had already been dead for quite some time. Deonte's mom and brother were also charged with child neglect of two other boys who also lived in that house, ages 9 and 16. Reporting from Fort Lauderdale, Lorena Inclán, NBC 6 News.
It would never ceases to amaze me the level of human cruelty. That child was nonverbal. You see, he had a tracheotomy. He required special care. For this to happen to him is like beyond belief to me. And I know I've been covering a lot of stories and stuff like that, but he was fed by a feeding tube. He had a nurse. He had a company that was working to help him. Having water in the brain and spina bifida are serious, crippling ailments. And for people to not at least have mercy on him, to try to care for him and give him the care he needs, I'm done with it. People like this, punishment need to fit the crime. I'd go get one of them dental things that they use that keep your mouth open, and I'd stake them to the ground and pour molten lead right in their fucking mouths. That baby died a horrible death. He weighed 7 pounds at 7 years old. That's the size of a newborn baby. I done had kids that was bigger than him. Newborns born bigger than him. 7 pounds. How sickening is that? 264 bottles of feeding formula unopened, just sitting there. while he's starving to death in the next room. Why you ain't feed him? You wouldn't want nobody to do you like that. And that's the thing. He's nonverbal. He can't get up and then go outside and look for help. He was a prisoner in his own body. And those guardians treated him like he was nothing. See, because sometimes when I look at these type of stories where they say somebody's nonverbal and stuff and people do stuff to him, they know they can get away with it. They sat him in that room for him to collect dust while he suffered. Your child. Ma'am, your child. You got a grandfather there. You got a brother there. All of y'all know he's in that room and y'all didn't do anything. All adults. You had a nurse that didn't do none of her nursing stuff. And you got a woman that was the owner. She locked up. They said a company name and everything. How embarrassing is that on national TV? You starved the baby, all of you. You all share the brunt of the blame, and you all should get the punishment. And it should be extreme. Because no matter what, the way his body felt, guys, when it was withering away, there was times where he was in unbearable pain and could not scream for fucking help. Make it make sense. You ignored your child. They said he was dead for a while. His bones were sticking out through his skin. Gaping holes in his body from bed sores, not being rotated and moved around. People get these children and they take the benefits of what come with it, but don't do the responsibility. He was dead and they were still collecting money off of him. I gave her dumbass money when she did the funeral thing. Oh, the GoFundMe. Me like a dumbass, I fell right for it. Because I was going to promote it on my show. And then sometimes that's why the story got to move me before I really put this out here and say, hey guys, somebody needs help, let's help. No, man. Come on. Come on. This is appalling to me. This is appalling to me. Where Black Lives Matter with this bullshit. That's what they need to fight on, not police officers and dumb shit. This is the problem. You got a lot of people out here that do stuff out of greed. And they just go to jail, nothing happened. They don't get drugged through the mud. They don't get people that come at them like, yo, why you do that? They don't have to answer for nothing. They just go to court, stand in front of somebody that don't know nothing about the case, just read some stuff off a document and is desensitized to it, and they give them a cookie cutter deal. They allow them to plead guilty. I'd make her, the mom, I'd make her dumbass and all of them sit up in court. And I show every graphic picture I could of the baby in different stages of what he went through from medical examiners and all this other stuff. And I'd have it to where the jury's eyes fall out from crying. I'd smoke these people. I'd smoke these people. No amount of justice or punishment cannot bring nothing good to little Deonte. You starved a baby to death. Look at the pictures of them. Look at the women. Some of them look scared. Fuck that. I'd go out in the ocean and throw some chum out and get a feeding frenzy. And I'd slice them all across the back with a fillet knife and push their ass in there one by one in a bull shark swarm. Get them right out of here. And I'd let every one of them watch. One at a time. Mom, you start from in front of the line. Let's go. Ah! Next. Please, can we make it this? Shut the fuck up. Get in the hole. Get in there. People are cruel. And their punishments need to be just as cruel as their actions. They'll sit in jail. They'll eat. They'll be able to sleep. They can walk. They can move. Deonte couldn't without help. Just the way kids have parents and the parents don't see them as their children, or just don't see them as human beings, or they just get tired of caring for them. I'll get to it when I get to it, because they want to live their own life. There were different avenues that could have been used to help this boy. They scam money. They scam money from Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever it is. Everybody had a hand in the death of this little boy. And you can't make it make sense. You cannot have any of them 5 people speak to them individually and explain to you how any of this makes sense. Where you say, you know what? I can see that happening. Can't. Because at one time or another, they all seen the condition this baby was in, looking like a skeleton. He was more healthier coming out of your womb than he was when you cared for him. Make it make sense. Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.